What is up, guys? It's MDFlameZ once again, and tonight I have something special for you. First of all, I have never done this before, but it was always in future plans I've had, and after making a poll on YouTube, 100% of you said you wanted to see me break down my remix of Masked Wolf's Astronaut in the Ocean, so here we are. I wanted to thank you guys so much for the insane support on this remix. And as of right now, the song has racked over 7,000 views here on YouTube and nearly 5,000 plays on SoundCloud. It has also been reposted on another channel which has over 1.2 thousand views over there, which equals the 7,000. And lots of people have reached out asking to use it in montages and use it in their own personal projects. And it's so exciting to see this happening, so thanks for all the crazy support, and let's keep it going. Let's hit 10K on that video. Also, before I start, I will be teasing my next track super early if my Instagram gets to 80 followers. So go follow my Instagram at MDFlameZ and drop a like on this video and leave a comment if you enjoy. But anyways, let's get right into this. Okay, so here we are in the remix project itself on Logic, and as you could see, there is a lot here. So I'm gonna do the obvious thing by starting at the top here. So first we got the melody. There are 3 layers to this melody. The first one here is not really anything special. Very subtle. You don't really hear it in the mix. It's not really the main thing catching your ears. The second one here goes right on top of the other one. Almost like impossible to hear, but it adds a tiny bit of saturation to this other melody here. So this is them together. So yes, those are 2 layers that don't really play a big role in the melody itself, but this one down here is the most important one, and is the one that you most prominently hear, and I'll play it right here. So this is the one that you hear. All together, they sound like this. So yeah, as you can see, it does work together all at once. Next up here, we're going to talk about this little flute because it also adds to the melody, but it's very, very subtle. I don't know if anybody picks it up, but if you listen very closely, you will. Adds a little pizzazz to the melody. Just punched my mic. So yeah, it's very, very subtle, but it's a cool little addition here. Another thing I want to add on here is that the melody actually changes as it goes on. I don't know if you noticed, but it also changes just a little bit to make sure it doesn't get stale, so. Also, if you hear some breaking up, I apologize. My computer's kind of freaking out. It doesn't know how to record Logic very well, so I'm working the best I can to give you the best quality video. It might be a little bit laggy. I apologize. There's nothing I can do about that. So the next one here, I believe, is... Yes, this is the pads. So these are the pads. They kind of add on to the melody and give it, you know, more atmosphere. So this first one here is Monster Bass. This is a preset in Alchemy. It's like a very deep, brassy kind of sound. It kind of sounds dark and spooky. And the second layer here is the same bass, except it has all the low end. The low end was cut out of the first one here, and it was put into this one so I can control the low end differently from the higher end, so I can control how much bass you have, because if it was one unit, then it'd be way too much bass. I didn't want that. So here's this. This is very subtle too. It kind of adds on during the second verse here in the beginning. So it's just a little bit of an addition. And this right here is nothing crazy. This is going into the build-up, and it's just a louder version of the monster bass. Just continuation of a singular note in the build-up. Right below that, we have a string preset. These are all in Logic. I don't have any special kind of presets because, you know, I'm kind of broke. So I just use what I have. But here's what the strings sound like. All together, it sounds like this. Moving right along, we have some percussion here that's also layered underneath the melody to start the beat, I guess you could say. Overload, I like seeing that. You couldn't take it, but you get the point. And here's another one. It's this tiny little cymbal. It's panned to the left, so... I'm sorry, it's to the right, so it's not really interfering with anything. Here's those two together. Yeah, I was about to say, I wasn't going to like that second note. Alright, so moving down, obviously we have our vocals here. This is the most important part of the entire thing. As you could see, there are a lot of layers in this, and they're just kind of very tiny snippets. So this first one here is supposed to be white noise. It's literally nothing but white noise. That's ripped right out of the audio itself. I was able to download the audio for free through following him on Spotify, because I guess he tried to do a remix contest before, and I don't know where the remixes are, but here is the regular melody.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze.
And if you come down here, you'll actually see there's another layer here. It's very, very faint, and I don't know if you guys could pick it up, but...
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze.
So these together sound like this.
What you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion, yeah. I feel like it.
It's very subtle, but it adds a little bit of effect to the audio, so it doesn't sound entirely like the regular song. If we come down here, you can see there's like a couple vocal effects. They're chopped up. This is the parts where...
What you know about... What you know about... Astronaut. What you know about... No. What you know about...
Then right here, there's a low vocal. It's very subtle. It goes right behind the regular vocal to give it a little more pizzazz. That's that. There are 3 vocal effects that take place during the drop. And then there's another melody part here, a little bit of snippet to go into the second verse.
I feel like an astronaut.
And it goes right into the next verse. I might go out of order here because I have no clue what I'm doing. This is the first time I'm showing somebody how I made a song, so we're gonna do the best we can. Here's just a simple space boomer. This is for the build-up, and then stacked on top of that is a rocket launch audio effect. This was included in Logic. It's a loop. 2 of those together sound very nice together. Down here we have our assortment of risers. I'm just going to play them all at once because it's really not that hard to explain. They're all loops. And then it cuts off early for a little pre-drop action, which is right up here. Just to start off the drop. This is a perfect time to go into the lead. This is the main lead of the drop. So there are a total of 8 layers to the main lead. Here's the first layer. It is panned all the way to the left because there is a second layer here panned all the way to the right, and it's going to give you a more full feel in the lead. And those 2 together sound like this. Here's the next layer. This is the higher octave version, just to give it a little more saturation, make it sound more full and broad. Here's the other one right below it. Literally like the highs, except it's the lows, so it's kind of in multiple octaves, which makes it sound more full and more ravey, I guess. But the most important one here is this one right here. This one does sound different on its own, but when you put them all together, it sounds like the proper volume and sound. This is going to be the kicks. This is the very important part. I wanted to make sure the kicks were very punchy. So there are actually 3 layers to the kicks here. We have Arcade Frenzy, Big Boom, and then 2-step behind beat. Basically, these are all in Logic. One of them is a loop that I sampled from. Here's the first kick played. Very, very, very atmospheric, I guess you could say. This is going to add a little bit more spice to the lower end kick, and together they sound like this. Very subtle, but it also makes the kick a little bit louder and it punches through the mix better. And here's the loop at the bottom. Very, very subtle, but all together they sound like... Going into the snares, this is what we got for the snare. First layer is Blazing Hot. It's a very loud, punchy snare. And to go along with that is a sample off of Looper Man called the Step Snare, I think. This is that, like, riot-esque dubstep. These two actually sound very good together. Down here is the crashes. These are supposed to be behind the entire thing to add like a kind of like a live set kind of feel. Every half step it plays, it's just, you know, simple. It's supposed to go right behind of the kick, so it gives you like a very loud kind of rock band kind of vibe here. Next up, I'm going to show you the bass because the bass is very, very powerful. And I'm going to play it right here for you. This was on purpose. Oh boy, it's still playing. This was on purpose. This is supposed to be loud because it's supposed to be a EDM banger, so that's what I made it. Here's the first layer. This is where all the low end is. This is the most crucial part because this is exactly what gives you the rumble. Next up, I believe this is the higher frequencies. I don't know, but it's turned up all the way, so it's kind of scary. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the higher frequencies. I did not hold back on that. Both of those together technically make one bass sample. You're probably wondering what that kick is in it. It's actually pre-made into the bass. This is like an actual bass that I made through the ES2. And the way I kind of keep that out of the mix is I sidechain it to the kick. So I don't know if you necessarily hear it. It might be a little bit noticeable, but not really. And here's the third one. This is a bit crushed version of the other high end. The point of this one was basically so you could hear the bass through your phone speakers. You know, maybe if you're not using headphones or like a low-end speaker that maybe doesn't have bass very well. It's supposed to help with that, but honestly, I think I kind of went a little overboard on the bass now that I think of it, because when I play it back on my phone at max volume, it almost sounds like it wants to explode. I have an iPhone 12 Pro, so it's a tiny bit concerning that I'm going to blow my speakers with my own song, but here we got little tiny loops called Midsummer Fills. This is a drum loop here. This is just to add a little bit of fillers into the drop so it doesn't sound like BS. That's just a tiny little portion that goes in between the melodies. That one too is basically the same thing. And this one down here should be a drum roll. Yep. Down here I think is where the pre-drop happens. Yeah, that's leading into the main drop. I have no clue what this is, so we're going to figure this out. Sorry, it was a boomer to go on top of the kicks or with the kicks to add a little more atmosphere. God, I suck at describing my own songs. It's kind of funny. So shortly after the drop, you're brought into this part. This is basically just like, you know, a simple trap beat. I just copied the bass over and I put the melody on top of it, and it worked very well. Right here is like a tiny little vocal fill. You definitely hear it in the beginning. Just a little bit more atmosphere to the beginning. This one here, I believe, is a quieter version. I make subtle changes like this and I put them on separate channels so I have full control of the volume. I don't want it to be that loud somewhere else. I just put it on a separate channel so I can control the volume strip. At that point, I should probably just automate, but honestly, I don't really feel comfortable with automation because it's screwed up a lot of mixes in the past and I don't know how to really do it professionally, so I kind of try to stay away from that. I only use automation in the mastering phase. I will use automation in the mixing phase too, but only if, you know, I'm trying to have something fade in, and that's basically it. I'm not going to go crazy and make it like 10 decibels over here and minus 12 over here. I don't really like doing that. It's too messy. Me saying too messy, but meanwhile, I'm out of fucking order here, and nothing is where it should be, so I'm kind of like trying to figure out if I'm covering everything. Here at the end is basically the same drop as the beginning, but instead of trap, it is drum and bass.
Like an astronaut in the ocean.
This one was very simple. Nothing really changed except for the kick. I changed the rhythm of the kick, and then I also changed the rhythm of the snare. Here is the kick, or one of them. That is literally all there is. Sorry if this was messy and if I forgot some things. I don't think I really did. It was a fairly simple project, and it was a second drop was basically a switch up, so everything that happens in the beginning of the song and the first drop I've already covered. One thing I will like to add is this little space sample here. This is also in Logic. They have all the Discovery audio and stuff, and I just put this in the beginning because it matches the title of the song. And then there is another one. Another one here at the end, basically what he used in his music video.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
And that is basically everything. That was basically it. It wasn't that hard to do. I apologize that the video quality was not very good. For some reason, it was lagging immensely, and I tried to get the audio and the video to be aligned, but it turned out it was a lot harder than I thought. But I figured it would still be a good video for you guys to watch because it still kind of showed what I was explaining. But anyways, if you guys like that video, please make sure you drop a sub and smash the like button. I will be making more music, and I have a song coming up soon. If I get to 80 Instagram followers, I will tease that song very early, so please make sure you do that, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.